Hello. The allotments on this site slope downwards to the east and to the north. So that's south, and if I turn it around slowly, that's east, and you should be able to see it's quite a steep slope. It doesn't look quite as steep on camera, but it is quite steep, and it also goes down that way, and you can see that is quite steep as well. And if I turn you to the west, you can see it's sloping that way as well, going up. And because the ground slopes down quite a bit, these allotments are terraced, so each one is higher than the other one, and one end of each allotment is higher than the other. So you can see that end, just beyond the end of the shed where the tap is. That's where the end of my allotment, and it comes up quite a bit to over here where is the other end of my allotment. So it is quite a steep slope. It may not look bad on camera, but it is quite steep. So the allotments are terraced. My allotment was slightly terraced, so that the right hand side of the allotment is considerably higher than the path and the lower beds. There were boards holding back the soil from the higher beds, but they were in poor shape. When I first got the allotment, I replaced them quickly with whatever I had at the time, but now it was time to improve them. Before I do anything, I have to remove these and replace them with something better, because you can see the rooty stuff is actually rooted and started growing. So these have got to come out. This one I put in last year, and I mean, look at the size of it. I tried pulling it out, it won't come out, so I have to dig it out. And I want to do that before I start putting anything on these beds. Whilst we're at it, might as well have some of this grass. Right, that one is nice and firm. Just going to move this one a little bit that way, and move this one that way a little bit. Hammer this in so it's a bit more further in, so I don't trip over it. Obviously it's not going to be such a problem. Once the bed is filled and there's netting over it, then I won't be going over on this side, but at the moment when I'm planting stuff, it's a bit dangerous, especially when there's weeds around it. And then this bit can be sorted. Just taking a little bit soil off on the side, and I can slide these down a little bit more to match the height of that one. So when I slide this one over a little bit to close that gap, okay, so these two now join up. I've now made a slightly bigger gap at this end, but I've got space there, so I'll have to move that one, but let's secure this one first. I made these two a little bit of the level that it was, so I have to nail them in a bit more. Okay, that's it. Let's do some of these bits first. Right, so we've got a gap there. So I've got to fill this gap by sliding this one along a little bit, and then that gives me that gap that I can wheel a wheelbarrow through. So we've got a bit of a gap there. I might have to sort this bit out later. But the idea is that these can be like ramps, so a barrow wheel can go up there and I can fill that bed or that bed if I'm bringing in mulch or compost or manure or whatever. I can fill these two beds from this path, and then this path is sealed, but then this other path between these two beds is open, and I can put a wheelbarrow between these and fill these two beds. I've got two paths where I can fill all four beds. This is how I brought in the green clippings to mulch these beds back in June. So like the other bed, this path will be wood chipped and all this stuff will go. So I'll have a ramp between these two so I can fill both of these beds. If I need to bring in anything, I can just wheelbarrow stuff up here. And these two beds can be filled from that path. So this one doesn't need a ramp, so it's sealed. It'll make sense once this path is wood chipped. All that remains is to nail this one in a bit more. There we go, that's nice and level now with that. Now, this will probably fall apart, this piece of wood. So all of the sticks and bars that hold this in place are now level with the level of the beds, so there's no chance of me tripping up and catching these by mistake, because when weeds grow you don't always see them and you think, oh, there's the edge of the bed, and just catch your toe on the sticks. The piece of wood that was supporting the bed here was really rotten, so that had to be replaced, and I found this piece that somebody wanted to get rid of, and it's bang on exactly 150 centimeters, which is exactly the size of this bed, or the width of this bed. This is going there. Clear everything else. So let's put this at this end. And a piece in the middle, just for good luck. So this is just holding the soil back and supporting the bed. Now we can level the mulch and fill this side of the bed, just to show you that this is how the plastic is holding back all the soil at that level and supporting the bed. Otherwise I'd have had to make a really deep pallet beds, which I didn't want to do. So that will do its job and hold the soil back at that end. So I just need to now level it off. All this mulch will obviously settle and rot down and in time become compost. There's quite a bit of, there was green leaves, obviously it's dried out a bit and it all looks brown, but there are quite a lot of leaves in there. So it's not just wood chips. That big piece right there, looking on the path. And I don't mind the odd dandelion in the bed. So before anybody screams and says, "Oh, you got a dandelion," I don't mind dandelions. Having edges on the beds makes things neater and also easier, because you can spot problems faster when there are definite edges to the beds. In the next two videos I'll be building a walk-in cage to protect the crops. So goodbye for now and come back soon.